Time now for another edition of the Pigskin Preview, and now we move over to the Nick 10. With me, I have probably a guy that looks back on last season and has a smile on his face yet. Hononegah head coach Tim Sughroue. And coach, last year, quite a year, you guys shared the Nick 10 title, and you also stopped Boylan's winning streak in an exciting game. Are you still smiling over all that?
I haven't really thought too much about it. You know, it's new year, new kids, and that's past. We want to remember it and build off of it, but really we haven't spent a lot of time talking about it.
How do you build on something like that? I mean, you know, for a long time, it seemed like Boylan had that long winning streak, and now your kids know that they can win a Nick 10 title every year.
Well, I think the key is, you know, just believing in what we do, and you know, when Boylan goes on that type of run, I think it's every program in the conference. You know, there's always that doubt. Are you ever going to get it done? Are you ever going to be able to win a conference championship? And whenever there's doubt, then you start to question. And so hopefully our kids believe in what we're doing, and we've been successful for a while, and just trying to build off that.
Let's take a look now at your offense. Let's talk about some of the kids that you're missing and some of the new guys coming in to help you out this year to defend that title.
Yeah, you know, I think key is we're going to have Daytona back, and just having experience back at quarterback I think makes a big difference. And his backup, Louis Berry, was a sophomore last year, and he's competing. It's, you know, we still don't know what we're going to do at the quarterback position because Louis is just a great athlete, and we got to find ways to get them both on the field at the same time. And then we have Braden Peters back at right tackle. But besides that, it's going to be a complete rebuild on the offensive side. And we've got kids with some experience for sure, but we got a lot of work to do, particularly in the offensive line, getting it all solidified.
How about defensively? What do the Indians look like for this season, Coach?
Defensively, we're going to have to. In the past few years, we've been fortunate enough to put up quite a few points, but this year we're going to have to win it kind of the Auburn way last year, and we're going to have to keep the scores down because we got some kids back on defense. Will Kramer's returning all-conference at nose guard, and Shaler Brunell's returning all-conference at cornerback. But our secondary is pretty much all back. D-line, we lost Jacob Cremines, who was all-conference, and we lost Jake Flowers, an all-conference linebacker. But we've got a lot of kids back on the defensive side of the ball. We got 7 or 8 kids that saw a lot of experience on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball. So that's going to have to be a strength for us.
You know, this off season, I've been seeing a lot of chatter about Shaler Brunell getting some D1 looks and stuff. Is that something that'll distract him, or is he ready to go for this season?
That's up to Shay. You know, he's an athlete, and I think he's become a better athlete this past year. And you know, when all that stuff's going on, sometimes it's hard because they tend to miss a bit more what we're doing. But when he's been with us, he's been great out on the field, and I do think he's put on a little bit of size and some muscle, and I think he is a bit quicker this year than he was last year, and that's his strength, is his quickness. So he's a great athlete.
And like you said, your defense, is that going to be the key to winning the Nick 10 this year? Do you think having a good defense that can stop like a Belvedere North and teams like that?
Yeah, you know, if you look at when Boylan was on their streak, they just had great defense.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I think Auburn's the clear front runner this year. If you just look at the kids that they have back and the success that they've had, and defensively, they're as good as they get on the defensive side of the ball. So, yeah, you look at the best teams in the state; they play great defense. Fans want to see a lot of points on the board, but great teams play great defense.
You know, special teams is a key, and I was doing some homework on Illinois State the other day, and I saw a guy that came out of your program as a long snapper. You had a couple years ago, Seth Combs was there. How's your special teams look this year? Because when you got a snapper like that, it sure saves a lot of headaches for the coach, doesn't it?
We've been fortunate with our snapper situation. Kelly Mason's snapping for Kentucky in the SEC right now.
That's right.
He was our snapper before that. So, and then Seth, you know, saw what Kelly did, and he's like, hey, you know, this is a niche, and I could do it. And this year, actually, he snapped for us last year. He was up as a sophomore, and really all he did was snap and play backup line for us is Nate Durham. And Nate's ranked higher than the other two when they were in high school. So, and he's only going to be a junior. So, yeah, Nate's going to be a great snapper. And Chase Miller kicked for us last year. It took us forever to find a kicker, and he ended up kicking for us at the end of the year last year as a sophomore. So we feel good about that. We still got to find a punter. That's going to be critical for us.
Somebody to take those long snaps, I suppose, huh?
Yeah. But we feel pretty good about that, the snapping issue. Really, in the Nick 10, if you don't see a lot of big snapping issues. So people have certainly serviceable snappers, and we've been fortunate to have some great ones because they've taken the time to go to the Rubio camps and those types of things to become an expert at it.
And when you look at all this stuff, special teams can really make or break a team, especially when it's a conference like the Nick 10, where it's going to be pretty even this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be even. Auburn's going to be very, very good, and then Boylan's going to be very good too. I think last year was certainly an anomaly for them. They're a great program, and I've just heard great things about what's been going on this summer down there, and Harlem's good too. I mean, they've got tons of offensive linemen back, and that's a strength for them, is the offensive side of the ball, how diversified they are, and so yeah, there's going to be some really good teams, but I think Auburn's going to be really good.
When you look at the schedule this year the Nick 10 flips the schedule. The last team becomes first. So this year you open up with Freeport. How do you view Freeport as you go into that opening game as you get ready for the preseason here?
Freeport's scary, particularly in the early part of the season. I think numbers sometimes I think can create problems for them later in the season if they have injuries. But you look at the beginning of the season, in the last 3 or 4 years, they have played people tough. They've been very difficult to, and they've won games early. And I just think it's the numbers issue. But I think that's a credit to what they do in the summer over there. Because when they come out beginning of the season, you better be ready. And they're just athletic. I mean, how many more McShanes we're going to have to deal with? I know there's a couple more that left, but the younger ones can play too. Let me tell you, when we played them last year, so they've got some athletes, and they're going to be a handful.
And one thing I've been noticing in the off season before we let you go here, you guys have been getting a lot of attention by the people that keep an eye on high school football, and you've got to feel really good about that. You've really worked hard to build that respect for your kids, and that's got to give them a little chance to puff their shoulders out and take some pride into a ball game on a Friday night. Yeah,
I mean, that's something that we've really strived for a number of years. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking to Lake Zurichs and the Glenbard Wests, and getting to know Dave at Lake Zurich, and the coaching staff at Glenbard West, and those are the type of programs that we want to emulate. And Boylan and Dan Apino, those types of things too, for sure. And we just tried to be consistent. We want to go out and play well. And I think last year we lost 2 games, and it was 26-20 and 21-14. So a touchdown or less in all of our games, and that's what we want to be. And there were years in there that when we did get beat, we really got handled some. But we want to be a competitive football team no matter who we play.
Well, thanks, Coach, for taking time out. I always look forward to it, and I know a lot of people keeping an eye on Hononegah, and good luck this season.
Hey, thanks for covering high school football, and we'll talk to you soon.
We've been talking to Hononegah head football coach Tim Sughroue for the StateLineSportsHub.com and the Pigskin Preview. I'm Dave Schmidt.